Hi friends, welcome to day number 10 of the 15 days to a healthier you course, and we are in Kansas City tonight, so welcome to my hotel room in Kansas City, and I'm hoping that the internet works okay tonight. So we're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about why you need to get more sleep and why you should stop shortchanging your sleep. And this is a subject that is so near and dear to my heart because it is an area that I have really struggled with. I've kind of alluded to that over the course of this program, and how this is something that I have issues with because I tend to shortchange my sleep, and it's affected my health very negatively over the years, and I've become a huge advocate for getting more sleep because I've seen how it makes such a difference in my life when I make sleep a priority. So in your workbook today, I talked about why you need to stop shortchanging your sleep, and I shared a little bit of a background on my story and how getting more sleep or less sleep has made such a difference in my life. And for many years, especially when I was first starting out as an entrepreneur and I had little kids, I neglected sleep. I burned the candle at both ends, and I just thought, if I just get a little bit more organized, if I just sleep a little bit less or sleep a lot less, then I will be able to get everything done that I need to get done in a day. And so I would get up early and I would stay up really late. And then I was also waking up in the night with babies. And it was a recipe for a lot of fatigue and a lot of exhaustion. And I wish that I would have just given myself the grace to be like, you know what? Get some more sleep. That project or that to-do is going to be there in the morning. And the thing that I have found as I've made sleep much more of a priority is that when I get more sleep, I'm much more productive during the waking hours. So if I allow myself to sleep just, 30 minutes to an hour more, then during the day I have a lot more energy and have a lot more focus, and I get so much more done because I'm well rested. So taking that time to get the extra sleep actually pays off in much bigger dividends than if I had just gotten up or stayed up late and powered through. I really, really, really believe that this is something that moms especially struggle with, but that if you are an entrepreneur and a mom, it can be a huge battle, and I get it. And the thing for me is that I have to remind myself of the quote, if it's important to you, you'll find the time. If it's not important, you'll make an excuse. And so for me, I had to get to the place where my health was completely shot before I really started making it a priority. And so in your workbook, I talk about 2 strategies for better sleep. And one of those is to learn your triggers. And what I mean by that is, are there specific things that are keeping you up at night, that are hindering you from getting a good night's rest? For me, as I had my year of rest last year, I realized that I was addicted to busyness. I was addicted to productivity, and I had made my worth be in my work. And how I felt about myself was based upon how much I was getting done. So I would burn the candle on both ends because I wanted to find that fulfillment and feel like I was being productive. So when I started saying no to so many things so that I could say yes to just a few things, and I had breathing room in my life again, I realized how much I was addicted to busy and how this had caused me to just exhaust myself because I was trying to prove to others, to prove to myself. I don't even know what I was trying to prove, but I would just keep going and going and going. Even when I was exhausted, even my body was screaming at me that I need more sleep, I would just push through because my worth was in my productivity. So my triggers for not getting a good night's sleep were what was happening right in here. And I had to learn to place my worth in something much greater than my work. And I had to find my identity. For me, it was finding my identity in the Lord, not in what I did. And finding my joy and my happiness, not in what I did, but in who I am in Christ. So as a Christian, for me, it was really getting back to the basics of that. But realizing that I was staying up at night because I was trying to use my productivity out as a coping mechanism. And so the computer was almost doing the things on the computer and staying up and being productive. It was almost this way that I was numbing myself from, instead of dealing with real life and things that I needed to deal with, I was using productivity as a crutch, which might sound really weird if you have a very different personality than me, but that's where I was. And so learn what your triggers are. For me, it was learning that when I am tempted at night to say, oh, I got so much to do, I really need to stay up and just power through and get this stuff done, I need to stop and step back and ask myself why, and then say, do I really have to? And very rarely do you really have to stay up really, really, really late to get stuff done. Very rarely. Now, sometimes you're going to stay up late with a sick child or a sick spouse or some other situation like that that you don't have any control over. But if you're staying up just doing stuff that is not necessary, I really want you to ask yourself why. So I was addicted to busyness and productivity, and I bought into the lie of chasing after more. Instead of getting up when my babies got up and letting myself sleep in or take a nap, I got up early and I worked through the baby's naps because there was always so much to do. That's how I felt. And so I really recognized that I was trying to be a people pleaser. I was trying to put my worth in my productivity, and it was that performer in me that I didn't want to let anyone down, especially not myself and what the standard that I set for myself. And I wasn't giving myself any grace. I love what Emily Freeman says in her book, Simply Tuesday. She says, when I'm performing for my own acceptance, burnout is always the result. So really asking yourself why. If you're feeling worn down and worn out, take a step back and examine if any of the exhaustion is a result of trying to earn someone else's acceptance. Are you only saying yes to that opportunity because you want someone to like you? Are you only volunteering or sending that email or showing up for that event just so someone else will be impressed with you? Maybe you don't struggle with this at all, but taking that time to really ask yourself why is a great starting place. So number one, learn your triggers. Really figure out, why can you not get a good night's rest? Is it something like that, or is it completely different? Maybe it's that you have a deficiency, some kind of nutritional deficiency. Maybe it's that you are drinking caffeine late in the afternoon. Maybe it's that you are doing something before bed that's causing your mind to race and you can't calm down and sleep. So learn what your triggers are. Number two, track your sleep. This has been so helpful for me. I started tracking my sleep. First, I started using the Sleep Cycle app, and this is an app that you put on your phone, that you stick your phone next to on your bed underneath your pillow, and it tracks kind of your movement and your sleep patterns, and it lets you know what kind of night's rest you got. This was very helpful to me to realize, kind of learning my sleep patterns and learning the nights that I was sleeping better versus the nights that I was struggling to sleep as well, and what was playing into that, and really paying attention to that. I also learned that I needed to be in bed for at least 30 to 45 extra minutes, so that if I wanted to sleep for 7 hours, I needed to be in bed for 7.5 to 7 hours and 45 minutes, because it takes me a little bit to get to sleep, and then kind of takes me a little bit when I wake up in the morning or whatever. So I needed to be in bed for longer to get a good night's rest. I ended up then, because this was so helpful, then I bought this Jawbone, this Up3 Jawbone tracker. This is an activity and fitness tracker, but it also is a sleep tracker. And I researched out, I really wanted a fitness tracker that tracked sleep, and this one does a really fantastic job of tracking your sleep. And I found this to be so beneficial to me, because every single morning I wake up and I see instantly how little or how much sleep I got. And I know, for instance, it just is this accountability to me to have that and to have that tracker, and so to see my whole week. And some weeks when it's busy, I may not have recognized that I wasn't getting good night's sleep, and then I'd wonder, why am I so tired? So having the tracker helps me to have the accountability. It helps me to take better care of myself, because I don't want it to tell me that I am not getting 7 hours of sleep. So it will remind me that I haven't been doing a good job, and it will remind me when I need to go to bed, and it will just serve as that constant accountability to me to take care of myself. So tracking your sleep, however you want to do that, whatever works for you. Maybe that's just pen and paper of what time you went to bed, what time you got up, and how you slept, whatever. But I have found it's so helpful to track my sleep, and then to learn things like, for instance, if I go to bed hungry, I do not get as good of a night's rest. So if I'm somewhat hungry at night, I make myself eat a little snack before bed, because I know that I'm going to sleep better. So things like that. I've also learned that if I have electronics on right before I go to bed, I'm not going to sleep as well. So it helps me to then make healthy choices before bed, so that I'm going to get a better night's sleep. In your workbook, I have 5 ways to get a better night's sleep. So if you are struggling with this and you feel like, I know I need a better night's sleep, but I just don't even know where to start, and I'm just frustrated because I just can't get enough sleep. I talk about, number 1, going to bed earlier, and give you some suggestions for that. I talk about how to plan ahead for a great sleep, and some things that you can do to set yourself up for success there. I talk about drinking less caffeine. You guys know that I think I've mentioned it in this course, that I went off coffee, completely off of coffee 22 weeks ago, and that has helped me sleep so much better, and helped me to recognize that caffeine was really inhibiting my sleep. Now, I'm not saying to you that you need to go off caffeine, but I am saying to make sure that that is not inhibiting your sleep. So maybe you need to stop drinking it after 3 p.m. Maybe you need to drink less of it. Maybe you need to cut your caffeine intake in half or something. But that has really made a difference for me. Turn off the electronics, like I talked about that. And have a wind down routine at night. We talked about the bedtime routine last night. If you can have somewhat of a wind down routine to help you, so that you're just telling your body it is time to sleep. It is time to sleep. Whether that's, putting on essential oils, diffusing essential oils, putting on comfy clothes, make sure that keeping your room dark, putting in earplugs, certain music that you listen to. Maybe it's taking a bath with bath salts, reading a little bit, whatever will help you to wind down, to have that as part of your bedtime routine. Even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes of something that helps you to wind down, that's going to probably help you to sleep better. And then give yourself grace, because many of you are in a season of life where you are getting interrupted sleep, and it's just that season of life, and there's nothing that you can do about that. I just really encourage you, sometimes you don't get a good night's rest, and that's okay. Choose to make the most of the day. Try again the next night, even if last night didn't go well. And sometimes that means giving yourself grace to take a nap instead of wash the dishes, or to sleep in a little extra, even though you feel like there's a lot of stuff you got to do. Remember, burning the candle at both ends does not make you Superwoman. It makes you exhausted. So your project for day 10 is to think through what your triggers are that are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. Are there things you could avoid, remove, or eliminate from your life in order to cut down on hindrances to a good night's sleep? And then number 2, I want to challenge you to start tracking your sleep and see what you learn from it. I recommend tracking it for at least 2 weeks so you can notice trends and see what's working and what's not working. And if you're looking for more practical help, be sure to check out the workbook, because read through this lesson carefully and then look at the resources at the end. I give a lot of resources at the end to help you out, because I really want you to be able to make sleep a priority, because a well-rested woman is going to be a much healthier woman.